Hello everyone. So for today's video, I will be discussing about logic and critical thinking. So basically what is logic and critical thinking, and I will give some reasons of the importance of studying logic and critical thinking. So aside from that, I added categorical propositions into standard form, the different types of propositions, the different types of fallacies, and different types of argument. So before that, I want to show you the students' reaction during logic classes. So as you can see, these three are all negative reactions. So by the end of this video, I want to negative reactions into these positive reactions. So let's start. So logic, what is logic? Logic. The term logic came from the Greek word logos, which is translated as reason, speech, or spoken word. It is the study of reasoning in which it is connected to different principles in order to correct the wrong thinking or reasoning. Why should we study logic? What are the importances of logic? First, studying logic helps us make a correct reasoning. Second, we reason every day. It is important to have a correct reasoning to prevent things go bad. Third, it helps you come up with a good writing skills as you have a clear thinking about the idea. Fourth, logic Fourth, logic helps us identify fallacies and recognize the contradiction which aware us about what ideas contradicts to each other. Last one is the logic is applied in various fields such as mathematics, science, and arguments and reasoning. Let's now go on to critical thinking. What is good and what is bad? So basically, it is having good reasons for your beliefs. It makes us distinguish what a good reason fits to our own beliefs rather than a bad reason. So here are the different types of argument: the valid, invalid, sound argument. So when we say about valid argument, it is an argument if the premises are true, the conclusion must also be true. When we say about invalid argument, it is a type of argument in which it is possible to have true premises and a false conclusion, or false premises and true conclusion. So either of the two is considered as invalid argument. And the premises are all true as well as the conclusion. Other type of argument are unsound argument and valid but unsound argument. So unsound argument, so when we say about unsound argument, invalid arguments are always unsound, as well as valid argument with at least one false premise. Next is the valid but have at least one false premise. Okay, so here is an example of valid argument. All philosophy courses are courses that are super exciting. All logic courses are philosophy courses. Therefore, all logic courses are courses that are super exciting. It is an example of valid argument because the premises are true as well as the conclusion. Next one is all spider monkeys are elephants. No elephants are animals. Therefore, no spider monkeys are animals. In this case, it is an example of unsound argument because it has at least one false premise, which is no elephants are animals. Conclusion is also false or also negative because of the one false premise. Next is we'll go to categorical propositions in logic. Categorical propositions in logic. So We'll talk in this slide, we'll talk about the quality quantity. We'll distinguish whether the propositions are universal or particular, affirmative or negative, and the different types of propositions. So here are the four types of propositions: the A, I, E, and O. So in A proposition, we can see that it is universal, affirmative, and it follows the form of all S or P. In action, it is particular, affirmative, and it follows the form of some S or P. On the other hand, the E proposition, it is universal, negative, and it follows the form of no S or P. It follows the form of no S or P. Last one is the O proposition. It is particular, negative, and it follows the form of some S or not P. Example of four propositions. So first, all dogs are animals. It is an A proposition as it follows the form all S or P. Next, no dogs have 8 legs. It is an example of E proposition as it follows the form of no S or P. Some dogs are golden retrievers. It is an example of I proposition as it follows the form some S or P. So last is the some Chihuahua are not dogs. It is an example of O proposition as it follows. So the categorical property in logic. So we have four types under this: the quantifier, the subject term, the predicate term, and the copula. So these four will help us in translating categorical propositions into standard form. So when we say quantifier, it is the word that indicates the range of term. It is a word that describes the main idea of a premise. The predicate term, it is a word which describes the subject term. The copula, it is the linking verb which expresses the agreement or disagreement between the subject term and the predicate term. So here quantifiers, so all, some, and no. All, it is place of every, any, everybody, always, anything, everything, whoever, whenever, whatever, etc. So no, it should be used in place of no one, never, nothing, none, and other. Some, it should be used in place of many, several, a few, certain, most, 24, 90%, majority, minority, etc. So here you can see an example of some cars are blue. So I label it in the four types of categorical propositions. So you can see the quantifier, subject, copula, and predicate. So some, it is a it is a it is the quantifier in the example as it indicates the range of individuals. So cars being the subject of the sentence. Copula is the R because it connects the subject and the predicate. The subject is the cars and the predicate is blue. Blue becomes the predicate as it describes the color of the subject. So we'll go now to translating categorical propositions into standard form. So an example of categorical proposition is this: not every student will pass. When we translate it into standard form, it will become some students are students who will not pass. Next is snake's coil will translate to all snakes are coil things. Next, feathers are not heavy will become no feathers are heavy things. Figures and moods. We have a lot of moods, but we only have four different figures. The four different figures it differs among each other because the places of the middle term are different. So I will give examples of each figure of figure so you'll know the places of the middle term. So before that, we'll discuss about the first figure. So under the first figure, here are the moods. So first is the Barbara, the Celerant, Dari, and the Ferio. So when you say Barbara, you'll know that Barbara should have the form of this. All M is P, all S is M, all S is P. So Celerant, no M is P, all S is M, no S is P. Diary, all M is P, some S is M, some S is P. Ferio, no M is P, some S is M, some S is not P. So here is the example of first figure under under the mood of Barbara, sorry. So all animals are nuisance. All dogs are animals. Therefore, all dogs are nuisance. So first it becomes Barbara as it follows the form all M is P, all S is M, all S is P. So you can see I highlight the M, the P, and the S. Okay. So in the first figure, you'll know that the sentence is under the first figure if the middle term in the first sentence is actually after the quantifier, and in the next sentence it is in the last sentence. So the M and C. Okay. So next is the second figure. So there are four moods under second figure: the Cesare, Camestres, Festino, and Barocco. So the form of Cesare is no P is M, all S is M, no S is P. In Camestres, all P is M, no S is M, no S is M, no S is P. In Festino, no P is M, some S is M, some S is not P. In Barocco, all P is M, some S is not M, some S is not P, some S is not P. So here is an example of Festino under the second figure. No statesmen are good politicians. Some journalists are good politicians. Therefore, some journalists are not statesmen. So it is not P. So in the second figure, you can see that the middle term in the first sentence and in the second sentence are both the same. They are in the last part of the sentence. Okay. The next one is the third figure. So there are 6 moods under the third figure: the Rapti, the Samis, the Tisi, Felapton, Bocardo, and Ferison. So the form of the Rapti is all M is P, all M is S, some S is P. The Samis, some M is P, all M is S, some S is P. The TC, some M is S, some S is P. Phelapton, no M is P, all M is S, some S is not P. Bocardo, some M is not P, all M is S, some S is not P. Last is the Ferison, no M is P, some M is S, some S is not P. So here is the example of the TC under the third figure. All writers are intelligent. Some writers are American citizens. Therefore, some American citizens are intelligent. It is an example of the TC as it follows the form all M is P, some M is S, some S is P. So in third figure, you can see that the place of middle term is both in the first sentence and in the second sentence are both after the quantifier. Okay, in the second figure, the both middle term are at the end, while in the third it is both after the quantifiers. Okay, the last figure is the fourth figure. So here we have five moods: Bramantip, Kamenes, Dimaris, Fesapo, and Fersison. So Bramantip, the form of Bramantip is all P is M, all M is S, some S is P. Kamenes, all P is M, no M is S, no S is P. Freseason, no P is M, some M is S, some S is not P. Dimaris, some P is M, all M is S, M is S, some S is P. Fesapo, no P is M, all M is S, some S is not P. Are happy people. All happy people are fun-loving. Therefore, some fun-loving people are Americans. So it is under the mood of Brahman tip as it follows the form all P is M, all M is S, some S is P. So the middle term in the fourth figure is placed in the first sentence it is placed in the last, while in the second sentence it is placed after the quantifier. So you can see here because I labeled it M, P, and S. Okay, we'll now go on to hypothetical propositions. So under the hypothetical propositions are the conditional, conjunctive, and disjunctive. So what is hypothetical proposition? What makes it different from categorical proposition? So basically, hypothetical proposition makes it different from categorical proposition because the proposition under hypothetical does not declare an unconditional affirmation or denial. So the parts of hypothetical propositions are conditional, disjunctive, and conjunctive. So when we say conditional, it is sometimes called if-then proposition. Disjunctive, the statements contain either or. Conjunctive, the component parts are joined by the conjunctive particle cannot be both and at the same time. So to make things clear, I make examples of the conditional, disjunctive, and conjunctive. So first example is this one. If the cloud is dark, then it will not rain. So it is an example of conditional because you can see in the sentence that it starts with and then. As what I've told earlier, you can say it is conditional if the statements are if the statements have if then proposition. So disjunctive, either he is a criminal or he is non-criminal. You cannot be both in Cavite and Laguna at the same time. So I highlighted if then for conditional example, either or for disjunctive example, cannot be both and at the same time for conjunctive example. So let's now go on to different types of fallacies. So fallacy came from the Latin word fallere, corresponds to deceive, trip, leads into errors, and to trick. The study of fallacies is an application of the classical definition of a fallacy is an argument that appears to be valid but is not. So here are the importance of studying fallacy. So studying different fallacies provide us to gain knowledge when it comes up to critiquing arguments. It is important to familiar ourselves with fallacy in an argument. Next, it will enrich your life as you develop the skills needed to evaluate various arguments of authorities, loved ones, advertisers, and especially politicians. Last, knowing the various types of fallacies will help you spot logical errors that people make on purpose. So we have a lot of type of fallacies. So here, fallacy of equivocation. Here, fallacy of equivocation, misplaced middle term, illicit major term, illicit minor term, undistributed middle term, negative premises, affirmative from negative premises, and universal conclusion drawn from a particular premise. So, linguistic manipulations. So, under linguistic manipulations are three types, which are the prestige jargon, emotional words, and double talking. So, when we say prestige jargon, it is who maliciously uses words in order to sound impressive and intimidating. On the other hand, emotional words, when someone expresses words with heavy emotions in order to seek sympathy to others. The last one is the double talking. Words are used to hide, to mask, and to mislead others. Psychological warfare. So, under the psychological warfare are meaning from association, rationalizing, attitude fitting, poisoning the well, ad baculum, misuse of authority, confident manner, ad hominem, repeated assertion.